Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we are here for our weekly angel reading for January the 28th through February 3rd, 2019. So let's take a deep breath together and just to allow yourself to connect with the voice of your inner peace, the voice of unconditional love. And with this intention, call towards you now your team of angels to support you and surround your connection to Source, to amplify it and to boost it, and to clear away anything, any distractions that would cause you to withhold the divine light of God from flowing through your connection, through your chakras. And so just for a moment, imagine that you're just opening your heart and feel that shift when you realize that you were closing your heart. Whenever you worry or whenever you are resisting or any kind of tension or stress is involved in your concentration, you are restricting the flow of divine love that you naturally channel at a very quick, very fast frequency, high frequency of consciousness. And this is the reason why, so that's why breathing is so important, because this allowing of Source consciousness is like breathing, like an uninterrupted flow of breath, deep breaths that are centering and calming, because they allow you to channel or flow that love out into all directions. And so right now, I had an experience with this right before a performance last weekend, where I saw my grandmother, and she came to me and asked me to open my heart. And immediately my attention went right to my heart chakra, and I just thought of it being open and flowing love out like the sun, radiating love in all directions. And I felt, the release was so intense, because up until that moment, I had been resisting all of my dreams and my goals for this opportunity to perform. I had been withholding it, focusing on failure, focusing on past failures, focusing on anything that could go wrong, instead of just inviting love and allowing that love, and about sharing that love of my gift. And it was an immediate release, and I realized, wow, this is what we're doing. We're choking the life out of the life and the joy out of every experience that God gives us. And only God can give us this flow, this joy, this love. But you have to allow it. So check in this week to make sure that when you feel really stressed or tense, just all of a sudden remind yourself that you need to open your heart and send this love. And so take a moment to just to do this, to send love, but don't try to direct it anywhere. You see, you have to understand, you have to trust that the only thing you need to do is be mindful that it is open, because it knows where to flow. It's sort of the same thing with healing. When you try to heal a resistance, because disease or dis-ease, however you see it, it's all, or fear, it's all resistance. And so when you are panicked and you say now as a healer, oh God, I want to get rid of that, I want to let that go. As soon as you say, I got to fix that, you are now offering resistance, because you are focused on the lack of that part of yourself that is now active only because you gave it your attention in the first place. And then when you try to fix what you have put your attention to without redirecting your attention to something that doesn't need fixing, but that it is already something that is in the flow of your joy. So when you try to fix something that is a problem, you amplify the problem. When you try to flow healing towards something that you don't want there any longer, you're only flowing the resistance. You're amplifying the resistance because you're flowing resistance toward it. So when you do your healing work, or whenever you have any intention that is in alignment with the vibration of wellness, well-being, love, prosperity, all you're having to do is open your heart and just see your light from your heart shining like the sun, just radiating out in all directions, trusting that it is that light of fulfillment, wholeness, joy, peace, opportunity, success will go and fill in where it's needed. It knows where to go. And all you're focusing on is the thing that you desire, peace, but without resisting. So what you have to do in those moments is you have to observe. So there's nothing wrong with observing. But what happens is there is the other component, which is the emotional connection, your emotional response to what you observe. So look at this as the yin yang, the masculine and the feminine energy. And when they come together, they always create the third party. That is to say, the outcome of of this coupling. So when you observe something, this is neutral. But when you have an emotional response about it, this is no longer neutral. This is creating something. And if it's judgment, then you are going to now create resistance. You're going to create the effect of what you do not want. So, for instance, I was watching some program. It was a reality program. But it was on cleaning. It was, I think, Marie Kondo, and I was observing something was said, because I don't want to, draw attention to this, but something was said by a parent that it wasn't bad, but I just had an opinion about it. All of a sudden, I just thought it was the oddest thing. And the child and the parent kept using this phrase. And so all of a sudden, I started to get, kind of righteous about it. And was like, well, why would they? And then I immediately recognized that this is none of my business, meaning this has nothing to do with my purpose. And so I withdrew my attention from it. I dismissed it, just said, it's none of my business, not my purpose, is what I mean by that. And what was restored to me, because I felt the emotional response, which was judgment. And when you invest judgment and about anything that you observe, then this is what you are going to attract and draw into your experience. And this is why we feel like we're all of a sudden, or we get angry, or we get sad or depressed, whatever. So you have to pay attention to the emotional response that you give to the things that you observe. So when you have something in front of you that you wish to heal, or that you recognize is not in alignment with you, is not a part of your truth, then it's okay to observe it, but be aware. Try to stay away from the emotional response, the negative one, the judgment, I want to call it. And this is what we mean by taking things personally. Because once you do that, you dig in, you invest. And you got to be aware of where you're investing your energy, your creator energy. Because whatever you focus upon, you create. But it's not just the focus, but it's the how you focus upon it, the emotional connection that you create there. And you can choose what kind of emotional response you're going to give. This is where you can let go. And the thing is just once you recognize that you're going there, to dismiss that, to delete that. And recognize that, and this is where we recognize what's our business, what's our purpose. And that's what we mean by mind your own business. I don't mean this to chastise you, but I mean it's for you to start thinking about this. Your business is to love, and as the angels just wrote, to laugh, to have a good time, to experience pleasure, anything like this. This is your business. Now, the reason that you feel negative about things and you have these negative emotional responses, let's say, my mother used to use the word pity party. And this is sort of, an oxymoron. But the thing about it is that the party part of this is true, because your higher self is always celebrating every goal, every achievement that is in alignment with your truth, with your purpose. It's always celebrating it, and it's already experiencing it. It has it already. And so your higher self will never, ever hold anything less than these great experiences. So your emotions, when you experience a negative emotion and you get down on yourself, disappointed in yourself, don't take that personally. That's you're judging yourself. That you're using that emotional connection of the ego, judgment, to judge yourself, when all your guidance, divine guidance, was trying to do was remind you that what you're focusing in, what you're investing in, is none of your business. It's not your purpose. And the reason that you feel disappointment is because you are the party is happening with your soul, and you're down here in pity, and you're stuck in it because you are not recognizing that the only thing that your higher self is telling you is it's like this. You know how the best way to explain this is, how it is when you are really miserable and then it seems like everybody else around you is just happy, and it seems like they have the best life and they have everything you don't have, and it makes you feel even worse. That's what I'm talking about here. That everybody around you having the party, that's your soul, that's your higher self, always radiating your joy, always speaking, singing about your truth. It's just doing it in every way that it can think of possible to express it. And when you are not having the same fun that the rest of you is having, you are miserable about that. And it's to alert you to join, to get out of your pity and to join the party of your soul. And you can do that by minding your business, meaning minding your purpose, and not taking and not judging in the first place. Don't judge yourself and don't judge anyone else, because judgment is what draws you into that experience and you become invested in it. And by investment, we mean it becomes real to you. And then as you invest, the laws of attraction gathers more information about anything that you invest yourself in and makes it real to you by showing you some more of that and showing you some more of that. And the more you get of it, the more you're convinced this is what reality is. But reality is only what you invest yourself in. And when you invest yourself in your truth, you enjoy the reality you're in. When you mind your own business, when you mind your own purpose, you enjoy the reality. You love it. You appreciate it. You have gratitude for it, the experience, the reality that you're having. But my goodness, because your soul is always enjoying itself all the time without end, because of you, just for you, it won't let it go. And then you take a turn that's none of your business, is not your purpose, is not your truth, does not value anything that your soul values. You feel god awful because you feel out of sorts with yourself. You feel out of sorts with God and source. You feel, and this is only to remind you that you're supposed to feel good. You're supposed to feel in with God. That you're supposed to feel alignment. You're supposed to feel like you're celebrating life and appreciating life. Not to say that you are that feeling. To say the opposite, you're not that feeling, you're not minding your business, get on with it. But we take things personally and say, woe is me, I really am screwed up. We believe in it. And then it becomes a part of our experience enough, the patterns start of this kind of dilemma, the drama, the misery. And there we go. So think about any subject in your life, like money, for instance, and just call up that experience. And what you will get, you will right away notice an emotional response. Now, let's just say if I add to it money and paying your bills and your expenses and responsibilities for the month. And if you have this emotional response that comes up, that I'm always struggling to make ends meet, that I'm just barely surviving, and you feel like a failure, and you feel disappointment when you think about this subject. Well, that is the emotional response that you're putting with the thought money. So the thought, the masculine, money, but how you feel about it is the emotional response. And no matter what that subject of money is, or how much is available to you, if your emotional belief is negative, then that is going to be the experience of that idea. This is why in the world we see people that we judge to be good people, and we have this moral idea of justice, righteousness. So righteousness and morality is really ego, because it's judging. It's saying this is the way it should be. It sets a standard for everybody that not everybody can live up to, because everybody is on their own journey. Everybody's pursuing their own truth. Everybody's pursuing their own business here. And when we create, society creates a moral or and it becomes righteous about it, then we inhibit the free will of others. Now, I know you could argue about that, and you may do that. on your own, but stay with me where I am. So to get this point, because that point is greater than that one. And when you realize that when you stick to the point that's greater, then the other ones fall into place, and we're not, being disrespectful to them. But in this world, until we learn to respect each other's truth, and the only way you can respect everybody else's truth is that you have to honor your own. Once you honor it, once you appreciate it, then you want everybody else to have what you have. This joy that you have, you want everybody else to have it. And you'll learn the responsible way by being responsible to yourself and your own path. You'll learn the responsibility that you need the freedom that you need to give everyone else in order to discover it too. The best way to help someone is to live your purpose, to mind your own business, to be about your purpose, to live your truth, because then you become this light that the word I'm looking for, but it shares it in such a way, it inspires others to also honor their own truth without you saying a word to them. You can do more for the world by being the best of yourself, the best spiritual version of yourself. That is how we influence, not by preaching at them. And what I mean by that is when you preach at someone, that's when somebody doesn't want to hear what you have to say, but you think it's important that they do. And that's sort of like what we're talking about here. And so it's very important that we don't get stuck in judging others, because when we do this, now those same judgments come back to oppress your divine self, your creative expression. So it's always about keeping your heart open, letting your wings expand. Okay, there was more I wanted to say about that, but I feel like I lost a train of thought. But if it comes up, we'll go back to it. Let's take a look at the cards for the week, the Archangel Oracle card. All right, so we have the Archangel Gabriel. We haven't had this card in a very long time, since I've been doing these readings, since 2012. And this is leadership. Okay, so this is Archangel Gabriel, and it's interesting. I did see an angel descending with a trumpet this morning when I first began my meditation. So something, and this card also reminds me of the Judgment card. But what's interesting is how this trumpet, this something is detached. It's like it's all being, it's like telepathy, that it's being controlled by the mind. But notice that he's not even focused on it, but there's a connection between the two, that it just is there. And so this is interesting about being a leader, that you don't have to force your voice. Just what we're just saying. Okay, you don't have to force your voice. It occurred to me this week, when you get upset with people about not respecting you, that's the wrong investment, because that's resistance. You're focused on people resisting you. And therefore, you're going to keep creating the emotional response is that you're hurt about that. Now, you can notice that and not be hurt about it. See how that feminine aspect is the key piece, that emotional piece that you need to pay attention to, because that's the real creator here. The masculine is just thoughts or observations. And they can't do it on its own. I mean, think about it. In the way that the reproductive here, it's the female who carries the child, or in this case, the thought. It carries the idea within it and brings it to fruition. So this is why you got to care about how you feel, and notice how you feel about everything. Notice, still observation, still non-neutral territory, non-judgment. That's why you want to notice, observe, but judge is a different thing. That's ego, and now you're going to create an ego manifestation. So when people don't respect you, it's okay to notice that, but notice how you feel, and then try to change your attention about that. Because the only way that people can really respect you is when you respect you. That's your business. Do you trust what you're doing as a leader? These are the things that you need to ask yourself. And if you think you need input, then there's no judgment about that. It's not weak. Don't think that if I, have a meeting and discuss and delegate, that they're going to see me. If that's your feeling about it, the idea of doing that, then that's what you're going to create. So it's about what you believe in. I remember when I was teaching, I realized that it doesn't matter. People were telling me, no, don't teach them this when I first started the first year. No, don't teach them this because they don't like this. They like their music. Don't teach them, your classical music. Don't do this, don't do that. Don't do it because they like this, blah, 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 blah. And finally, I realized that my heart kept telling me to teach them about Beethoven. And this is my first year, and the 8th graders, and they were not well behaved. They gave me a really difficult time, but it was okay in the long run because I've discovered who I really was. And the thing that kept telling me to teach them Beethoven, I finally did it after about, a month of trying this other stuff that I didn't have any passion for. But I did have passion for this. And when I did it, because I was passionate about it, and it made me automatically confident. And my teaching in that lesson in those days to follow, evolved out of my own passion. And they immediately followed me. And so this is the point I'm trying to make. When you believe in what you're doing, others believe in what you're doing. It's not the other way around. You don't try to get them to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. And I know that belief system about you, about any idea about you succeeding, that emotional response is always going, but I'm not, you're having that pity party. And that's the only reason that you can't change the way you feel about that. That's the only reason. But you can choose another way to respond to this. Okay? And that will just transform the way that you are received. So this is something important to recognize about being a leader of any kind. And you are a leader when you are the highest vibration, which means that you are the one pursuing your business, your truth, your purpose with conviction. You become the leader in terms of vibration. And whoever has the highest vibration has the greatest influence, no matter what your physical title is in the room. All right? So don't ever allow yourself to believe that you're powerless in any circumstance. Let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week, as I've gone way over time. And these videos only go about 40 minutes. So here we have the Queen of Autumn. And this is saying, and here, look at, again, the Queen of Autumn has her eyes closed. And notice how this activity around the wand that she's holding, everything starts to move. So here, this is about, and I know this is not what the card says, but this is really about paying attention to your imagination, your inventive imagination. The way that you approach things creatively. You know, you would think about this queen as someone who loves to create, but, you know, with her hands, and she can do anything. You know, she can fashion anything, design, build, beautify, anything. And the thing is that when we go into our imagination, I often practice before singing notes. I imagine, and if there's a tension when I'm imagining, I then try to reimagine without that tension. And I was discussing this with other musicians, and they've had the exact same experience, that once you really start using this, that you start to feel your mind and your body communicating with each other while you're imagining. So you can actually feel the new process, or the new function, because that's what this process of reimagining does. It helps you to find a healthier function. And when you go to do it, sing it, play the note, you actually you continue to imagine, and you get closer to that new function within your work. And so this is what she's kind of offering you, the Queen of Autumn here, the Queen of Pentacles, is that you can reimagine your world. You're just not going within and thinking about how you want to feel and what you really desire and how you want to feel about it before you go out and create it. Okay? So take a little bit more time to not just, and this is not about being afraid to just, when an opportunity comes, when it's clear, that's altogether different. But this is about being mindful about what you jump into, about what you're creating, about what you want to create. If you want to create success, if you want more money in your life, just don't go for that without imagining, or in some cases, reimagining your feelings about money. You know, can you reimagine getting a job or going to a job interview without the tension or stress or worry that you're not good enough, or you're an absolute failure, and that it would be of no advantage to you or benefit to you to even try? So, you know, you may need to do some inner work in order to heal some of these imbalances that you keep experiencing misfortune about. And the only reason that is because your emotional belief or your emotional response is so negative, but you believe that negativity is you, and so you pity about it. But it is really because you are worthy of all of that, and the greater part of you is celebrating you as that, and you're not. You're the only one at the party who's not celebrating you. And that's what all it means. Not for you to go deeper into it, but to join the party and to stop pitying yourself. And the only way to do that is you're going to have to observe without the emotional connection, and just open your heart, because that's part of your heart is closed. So open your heart intend the love to flow, but not to try to fix it, but just to be. Because that's the way you're supposed to be. And when you're being what you're supposed to be, then your fears will run away. Of course, you're going to feel them hanging on because you're hanging on to it. But when you just focus on, this is how I'm supposed to feel, this is what I'm supposed to be, then that love, unconditional love, will put everything right. And you'll get these new, clear ideas and emotions that will evolve over time. Okay? Just keep in mind, it has nothing to do about you not deserving. It's just that you're kind of stubborn, and you've been stubborn about the way you feel for a very long time. So this card, and when I was pulling the cards, but I didn't see them, and meditating, I saw connection, I saw the word love. And so this is to remind you of the people around you, that they love you, okay? It may not even always appear that way, but everybody who's around you is in your life for a purpose. And if you mind your own business, and if you don't, that is to say, mind your purpose, and you don't try to get them to love you, and you just love yourself, and you love because you enjoy being, the benevolence is the word I just saw, then you will feel supported. You will experience their support. But if you focus on something that everybody doesn't like you, or people judge you, or suspicion, then that's what you're going to draw out that part of them. You're irritated, you're suspicious, they're going to be suspicious. You see what I mean? So you got to change how you feel about ideas and beliefs that you hold. You can work to change that. You can reimagine that when you walk into a room, that people are inspired by you, that people see your true value. Because when you're reimagining this, you are also redirecting your attention to these great qualities in yourself. And so there's something here that for you needs to shift so that you can see that, so you can be a spiritual leader by being the highest vibration of awareness in the room, and that being the greatest influence without having to say anything. You see? All right, let's take a look at the card for the end of the week. And we have another queen. It's the Queen of Spring, or Wands. And this queen inspires others. She nurtures their talents. She can see and bring out and draw out. And so this is one of the qualities of a good leader, is that you have a gift to not dictate to people, but you have a gift of bringing out their leadership abilities, bringing out their light, their truth. And so maybe one of the things that you want to think about is redirecting or sort of looking at this, your approach differently in this instance, so that what you're doing is, instead of trying to get people to listen to you, and this doesn't mean just in your work, but this could be with your family members, any relationship of any kind, stop trying to get people to believe, trying to get people to give you something you think that they're not giving you. This way of going about it is resistance. And when the law of attraction basically says like attracts like, that is to say, whatever you focus upon, you are saying yes to. Like attracts like means when you focus, you become the judgment. You become whatever. If you're judging, you become that judgment. That's why forgiveness is for you, because you have to let go in order to become something different. So whatever you focus upon, you become it. Now, that is the two parts. There's focus, the idea, but then there's the emotional connection to the emotional response. When you do that, when you invest your emotionally, that's when you become it. And so they are trying to get you to no longer choose to invest in anything that does not feel good, or that you have an emotional judgment about. They want you to divest yourself so that you can invest in the opportunities and the things that give you joy. And to be a good leader, what you want to do is that you want to be someone who inspires, helps nurture talents in others. This isn't to say that you should forego any mastery of your own talents and gifts. You don't give away all your time. You just don't go around doing this all the time. There's a balance here. And you have to pay attention to how you feel, because when you're doing it too much, then you're going to start to feel tired or exhausted. And that's the early signals. Okay, now I need to start, devoting my time to me, applying it to something that I love, so that I generate personal satisfaction and pleasure from what I'm doing. And also so that you don't end up regretting the thing that you're so good at, and that when you're doing it in balance, that it's the greatest high of all. So paying attention to how you feel makes you aware of many things, and it makes you aware of all the things that is your business, so that you're doing what you're meant to do in the moment that you're doing it. Always, always, always. All right. So let's take a look at the card I've already pulled from the bottom of the deck. And it's the Justice card here. Now, let's see. So this is about, it says, take the time to review the details carefully. You will win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. So this is about discernment, okay? Spiritual discernment. And this is what we've really been talking about all this time. You are looking to win. You're looking to succeed. You're looking to be loved. You're looking for these things. And if you're looking for them, you are demanding, well, this is not the right word, but you're basically, saying that I don't have this. You're saying I lack this. I lack these things. If you're looking for it, you're emphasizing your emotional connection. Okay? I don't have it. So imagine this contradiction. I want this. I want this. I want this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? See how that changes? That's not the same feeling as I want this. Or this is, like when you want something, that's it. There's no more questioning. You know that this is your purpose. But when you say, where is it? Where is it? Which means I don't have it, and it turns into, and when you take it personally, when it becomes a judgment, when you start this, because you're going to judge yourself, because there's got to be something wrong with you. See, that's the judgment. Now you're emotionally invested. Feel how we just plunge right into that, and it doesn't feel good. It's just a sea of and depression and all kinds of just really negative feelings. Oh, I'm going on and on. Okay, so this is something that we have to detach from. That you have to let that. You have to really withdraw yourself from that. That's not justice. You have to recognize what you want, and you have to start expressing this by the way you carry out your purpose. Invest yourself in this way. Offer it. So don't look for somebody to respect you. Don't look for someone. This is not the real judgment. Discern what you're offering emotionally and try to reimagine that without that negative response there. Because then you will align with that desire. Otherwise, as long as you're feeling bad about it, you're just creating a gap between that desire, I want this, I deserve this, and what you're actually offering. And somehow in this week, you see it's interesting how that sword is just there, illumined for them. Through this process that we've been talking about of discernment, you're going to, revelations are going to come to you. And you're going to see what it is that you weren't missing. It was just that because the way you were focused, it was not visible. But it was there, just not visible. All right, so this has been one of our longest, but I think it was all necessary. So thank you for, hanging in here to this part of the video, and I hope it has been enlightening for you. And I send you so much love, and it is such a pleasure to do this, because I'm also hearing it for the first time and learning from it with you, very much in this process with you. And if it wasn't for you, this process would not exist for any of us. That includes me. So it is very deeply important and profound for me to do it as much as it is for you to receive it. So if you're looking for an angel reading, you can contact me at theangelschool.com on my services page. If you would like to follow us for the daily card messages, which are really important, I think, you can go to my Facebook page, which you can find either from my website on the Angel School, or there's a description link below as well to that, and through Twitter. You can link with the videos and the daily card messages through Twitter as well. So have a beautiful week, and God bless you all.